Since it's live streaming.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We are live on streaming. Ms. Matias, you proceed with the public review session.
Okay, could someone? Okay, you good? Okay.
Everyone, just make sure the microphone is on.
Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals, a review session for August 12th, 2024. For the record, Commissioner Shetta is joining us remotely and Commissioner Yoon will be absent today. The first items up are the adjournments. Item number 1, 2022-65 BZ, 2503-2519 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn. Item number 2, 2023-36 BZ, 191 Edgewater Street, Staten Island. Postponements, 2024-23 BZ, 334 Douglas Street, Brooklyn. Decision items. Item number 4, 2021-17 BZ, 87-19 Rockaway Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, the applicant requested a deferral. Basically, there is still some outstanding work. And I think the applicant has been very diligent in trying to make these improvements. So I will accept this deferral and hopefully they will be able to finish prior to, we will schedule probably a later September.
September 30th.
Yeah, for this. I also have a note from Commissioner Yoon saying that Commissioner Yoon is open to deferring it, deferring the vote. And they have proven to be responsive and appear to be making efforts to comply. Any comments or any? Okay, all right.
Decision items. Item number 5, 2021-26 BZ, 12 Cole Street, Brooklyn.
This also needs to be deferred. We are waiting for a secret sign off.
Item number 6, 2021-27 BZ, 13 LaCourte Street, Brooklyn.
Same, awaiting for secret sign off.
Item number 7, 2021-28 BZ, 375 Columbia Street, Brooklyn.
Same, waiting for secret sign off.
Item number 8, 2023-04 BZ and 20207 BZ, 2170 McDonald Avenue, Brooklyn.
Right, okay. So thanks to our stellar BSA team and the applicants corporation and our other sister agencies, we have a secret sign off. So based on that, here are the environmental conditions. An E designation has been placed on the zoning map pursuant to section 11-15 of the New York City zoning resolution for the subject property. The E designation will ensure that testing and mitigation will be provided as necessary before any future development and or soil disturbance. Further hazardous material assessments should be coordinated through the Mayor's Office of Environmental Remediation. With regards to noise, a composite window wall attenuation of 36 dBA will be required for the facade of this building. A closed window condition and an alternate means of ventilation will be provided. A 10-foot high wired fence with an acoustical performance rating of STC 30 would be placed around the 2 proposed play areas on the rooftop of the 2nd floor. With regards to transportation, the applicant has agreed to stagger students' arrival and dismissals during the morning hours of 8:40 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. and afternoon hours of 3:25 p.m. to 3:40 p.m. peak hours to prevent the obstruction of traffic on McDonald Avenue. New York City DOT will continue to participate in the review process related to the reconstruction of pedestrian ramps. New York City DOT will participate in the review process relating to all future modifications, constructions around the site. The school loading zone size and location and signage are subject to DOT's review and implementation. The applicant will be responsible for all costs associated with the design and reconstruction of pedestrian ramps. So with that, I make a motion to approve with the following conditions. That the applicant will submit the builder's pavement plan and all required drawings as per New York City DOT specifications and requirements for New York City DOT review and approval with regards to reconstruction of pedestrian ramps and any sidewalk improvements. And prior to issuance of a TCO, noise attenuation measures shall be implemented. So those are my recommendation. Anything that, and this is with regards to McDonald's Avenue. Okay, if everybody's in agreement, I make a motion to approve.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
application has been granted. Item number 10, 2023, I'm sorry,
Nine.
item number 9, I apologize, 2023-05BZ 321 Avenue T, Brooklyn.
Okay, this is the second part of the larger scope of the project. We also have an environmental sign off, secret sign off on this. Do you have to read out the environmental conditions? Okay, the conditions that were stated with the environmental conditions that were stated with regards to the McDonald Avenue applies to Avenue 2 building. In addition to the hazmat, noise, and transportation, there is an additional air quality condition associated with Avenue T, and that is that the proposed project shall use electricity to power HVAC system. HVAC type shall comply with applicable laws and regulations as determined by DOB and other relevant agencies. This building does not have a playground, so the playground related conditions do not apply to Avenue T building. So with that, I make a motion to approve with following conditions. The conditions being the applicant will submit the builder's pavement plan and all required drawings as per New York City DOT specifications and requirements for New York City DOT review and approval with regards to reconstruction of pedestrian ramps and any sidewalk improvements. And prior to issuance of the PO, all such sidewalk and curb cut improvements shall be implemented, and also all noise attenuation related conditions shall be implemented. Oh. Commissioner Sheta, you're frozen. You may need to
I know, Chase went.
Yes, Commissioner Sheta is frozen.
yeah.
You do have a form.
No.
No.
There we
There
go.
he is. Okay, all right.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Are we good?
Yes, we are.
No, he's nothing.
You got to turn one of them off.
Yes, I'm good. Go ahead.
Oh, you did the wrong one.
On.
So remove the good one?
Yeah,
Aye.
cute.
Yeah, I can. Okay, there we go.
It's a Monday.
Please be patient, those who are listening in virtually. Commissioner Sheta is
Having
trying to
some technical
rejoin. There was some
difficulties.
technical difficulty. He has to rejoin.
Is he able to join? No, he's not joining.
We do have a form, so we can vote if we need to.
We can.
What do you want to do?
I just want to give him another few minutes. We don't have a huge. agenda.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so. Thing is all over my. Mhm. Once again, we're having a little technical difficulty. Please be patient.
I'm doing it now. Okay. Hold on.
Invite. You can't log on or something.
Is there a reason why we can't just vote everything out? We have three.
Yeah. Carla. We're gonna. The chair wants to proceed, Carlo.
We could just, like,
We're waiting, I have to move.
mm, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so you gonna do that?
Yeah, just
Okay. Okay, we're back on the record, ladies and gentlemen. Due to technical difficulties, Commissioner Shedd is unable to join us at this moment.
Yeah, he's a-
So do you want me to call the case again?
Yeah.
Calendar number 2023-05 BZ, 321 Avenue T, Brooklyn.
All right. Similar to the previous case, the environmental conditions, we have a sign off and there are environmental conditions associated with Avenue T building, similar to the McDonald Avenue. In addition to those conditions, there is an additional condition with regards to air quality. And the conditions are that the proposed project shall use electricity to power HVAC systems. HVAC types shall comply with applicable laws and regulations as determined by DOB and other relevant agencies. Now, please note that Avenue T building does not have any rooftop play area, so noise attenuation with regards to the play area is only applicable to the McDonald Avenue building. So with that, I make a motion to approve with the following conditions. The conditions are that the applicant will submit the builder's pavement plan and all required drawings as part of the New York City DOT specifications and requirements for New York City DOT review and approvals with regards to reconstruction of pedestrian ramps and any sidewalk improvements. And these improvements shall be completed prior to obtaining a TCO. And prior to the issuance of the TCO, noise attenuation measures shall also be implemented. With that, if there is no additional recommendations. All right. I think Commissioner Shedd is still having difficulty technically joining us, so we have a quorum. So we will proceed with the vote.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta,
All right.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 10, 2023-37 BZ, 8529 Commonwealth Boulevard, Queens.
Okay. We have all the necessary sign-offs and the applicant has updated the application with regards to the CEO and has also revised the plans. So I make a motion to approve with, was everybody satisfied with the submissions? I then make a motion to approve with the conditions that STC rating of 45 dBA windows shall be provided on all floors and first floor windows shall be fixed, opaque, and alternate means of ventilation shall be provided.
Motion to Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta,
All right.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Application has been granted.
Okay.
Item number 11, 2023-68 BZ,
We'll need,
8-10 Grand Avenue, Brooklyn.
Okay, we will need to defer this. We are awaiting
For secret
secret sign off.
Special order calendar, continued hearing items, 10391 BZ, 24818 Sunrise Highway, Queens.
Okay. At the initial hearing that was held on July 15th, board had asked for additional clarification, including proof of continuous use and improvements made to the site. The applicant has made its submission. I mean, I don't think a proof of continuous use is needed because the term had expired in 2023. It's just been a year. So but anyway, I appreciate the applicant submitting the information.
If they thought it's required.
Okay. Don't know if they filed early or not. That I cannot verify from my notes. Plans have been revised to include the fixed bollards along the front lot line, and notes have been added regarding compliance with signage. Now, based on the plan, a planting strip is going to be maintained at the entrance of the queue. At the last hearing, I had stated that that almost is not going to be possible given the size of it and the location of it. And the photos show that there isn't any tree planted and it's pretty flattened out. So I would strongly suggest that if you are considering to provide some planting, this is not the location. There are existing planting strips that are located along the side lot line and along the further away from the queuing area. There's another planting area. Do thorough planting there and extend the bollards all the way to this planting area so that you ensure the vehicles are queued appropriately. A photo of the site in operation was provided, which almost shows no vehicles parked, no vehicles waiting in queue. And the applicant states that because it is a self-service facility, this is the first time I actually found out that this is a self-service facility, the cars move through it quickly and there are very few cars therefore queuing up. I have a note from Commissioner Yoon, and she doesn't believe it needs to provide a proof of continuous use. And she also states that she appreciates, I'm reading her notes, she appreciates the one street tree. There appears to be room for one or two more trees on the 60-foot distance shown on A001. This would greatly inhibit cars parking on the sidewalk. So she's asking the applicant to consider providing another one or two more street trees. A general signage note was added, but the sign calculation still shows and that the existing signs exceed and the underlying regulations and do not appear to be compliant. Also on A007, the signage elevation note that sign D is illuminated but is counted as non-illuminated in the calculations on A006. Illuminated signage total cannot exceed 550 square feet, and the site is already well above that with signs B and C. So applicant should clarify whether D is illuminated, sign D that is illuminated, and also address the overall non-compliance. Vice Chair Shibata.
Thank you, Chair. While I don't believe that continuous use is an issue, I just want to state for the applicant that what I saw when I opened up the photos was two photos of October 2017 and one photo of 2014. I think they may have made an error, but again, it's trivial at this point. I just want to add that the applicant did state that they're going to reach out to the Parks Department with regard to the tree to see if that's something that is that the Parks would approve.
Mhm.
I have nothing further.
Thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown.
Yes, I also was curious as to why they gave us the proof of continuous use and agree with Vice Chair that it wasn't really representative of the continuous use anyway, but that was a moot point, and I have no other question.
I would say the applicant is Commissioner Sheta with us. No,
No.
it doesn't seem so.
No.
Okay, I would say that if the applicant is proposing to reach out to the Parks Department, they should have started the process now. Before we make any decision on this, I do want to see some discussion that has ensued between the applicant and the parks with regards to the street trees. And as Commissioner Yoon pointed out, that there is a possibility of putting another street tree. Instead of trying to put some kind of tree on the site, which is not going to be viable, consider putting a street tree that would benefit everybody and would also eliminate the possibility of vehicles parking on the sidewalk, which is also for the benefit of the business and also for the neighborhood. Okay. And I would say before the board makes any decision on this case, the applicant must install these bollards and provide a photo of the installation. And the details of the bollard drawings is included in the plan, a revised plan, and and the installation shall be done according to those submitted plans. Okay. Should we take just a 5-minute break?
Why? Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
okay.
Okay.
I just need to take a 5-minute break.
okay.
We're going to break for 5 minutes.
We only have two cases left. They're trying to send him a invite through another email. Yeah. I think it's over 5.
We're gonna go back on the record. Carlo? Jello,
Yeah, you may proceed, Ms. Matias.
Jello, can you remove that screen, please? Thank you. Put my video back on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. Thank you for your patience today. We're back on the record. This is the board's review session for August 12th, 2024. The next items are appeals calendar, new cases, item number 13, 2024, 14A, 23 Zarelli Court, Staten Island.
Okay, we received proof of initial filing and hearing notices. Community Board has voted to approve this application with conditions that, with the condition that 5 parking spaces and an interior restroom be included in the project. Applicant should be ready to provide a response regarding the Community Board's conditions. This is an application for a GCL 36 for a development of a 1-story warehouse building on the subject site that is not fronting on a map city street. Applicant is proposing a 1-story storage warehouse facility that would be not fronting on an industrial loop, but would be accessed. An industrial loop, as we know, is not a map street either. It would be accessed by like a private road, another private road, Zarelli Road, which will connect to industrial loop. It would be a 40-foot wide road. Applicant states that it will be paved for a majority of the site's frontage. And so my question is the 40-foot wide paved road that will provide access to the industrial loop. It is straddling other abutting lots 505 and lot 490. So if the applicant confirm that and indicate how that would be provided, and clarify if the improvement will be made up to the industrial loop roadway. We do need fire department's input on this one, and I do not know if DEP has weighed in on this.
Not GCL 36.
Not for GCL 36.
No.
Okay, so they don't need, okay. That's right, 36, yeah. Since the site, a portion of the site is on a wetland, my question is, will the site require New York State DEC review for the area within the wetland portion? And if so, BAC is not waiving any of the regulations related to the wetland, and all regulations shall be complied with. Those are my comments. Vice Chair Shibata.
Thank you. The only clarification is that we still do need fire department, just not DEC.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
DEP. you mean.
DP, yeah.
Yes.
All right, no further comments from me then.
Thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I have no additional comment.
Okay, Commissioner Sheta, due to technical difficulties, not able to join us. Commissioner Yoon sent me her comments, and she wanted to have a status update of the fire department and DOT review, and she also wanted the applicant to respond to the community board conditions that requested a 5 parking spaces and an interior restroom be provided. I also have a note actually from Commissioner Sheta on this. Just give me a second. I'm just going to open up Commissioner Sheta's comments on this.
Is a DOT issue raised on this? Because we don't send it to DOT.
No, we don't send it to DOT.
Okay.
Commissioner Sheta's comment with regards to Zarelli is that In the statement of fact, indicate that wetland is part of the site, and on the plan indicate that all city, state, and federal regs regarding wetland will be complied with. Add a note to the site plan saying that BSA is not waiving any regulations regarding wetland. All city, state, and federal regulations regarding wetland shall be complied with. And Commissioner Sheta also states that this is a large enough site to accommodate the community board requested parking spaces. Other than the waiver of less than 15 spaces, what is the reason the 5 CB requesting parking spot is not being provided? I just want to stay with regards to comment that I read out of Commissioner Sheta's parking. PSA is requiring the application to meet all the underlying regulations. We are not here to weigh in on what they should go beyond or go less than the zoning. They have to meet the zoning requirement. And if the zoning allows for a waiver, that's the applicant's decision to take. But I do want the applicant to respond to the community board response as to why that was stated and if there would be any other issues that would prevent them from doing it. I think it's not a bad idea, but I'm not going to require it. Yeah?
Yeah, no, I was just going to state that GCL 36 is very limited in what we are supposed to review.
Exactly.
And while we can, I do agree with the working well with your neighbors and listening to the community board, and that certainly pays dividends. We have to focus on what we're required to do by statute.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yes.
Item number 14, 2024-12 and 2024-13A, 13752, 13756 Bennett Street, Queens.
Okay, this is a common law vesting right application to renew a building permit renew 2 building permits for construction of 2 attached homes on the subject site that was rezoned from an R32 residential zoning district to an R2 zoning district. The process of this whole application started well back in 2008 when the subject site was subdivided into 2 tax lots, and then a demolition permit was issued and DOB issued a permit to build 2 semi-detached 2-family homes on the subject lot. And after that, in around 2011, the site was rezoned. The applicant needs to provide all the permits that were issued to support the construction timeline documents. In order for the board to consider a common law vesting application, board looks towards the 3-pronged test of Putnam Armonk v. Town of Southeast, provided that the permit was lawfully issued. We received a very recent letter from DOB on August 9th, stating that the 2 building permits were lawfully issued. So with that, I want to go through the 3 prongs of Putnam Armonk. The first being substantial construction. Applicant in its statement, I would say overall this application has not been well served because the explanation that has been provided to meet all the 3 prongs are not tied in together with all the individual paperworks and documents that have been submitted. And it does not help in supporting the argument, the legal argument that Putnam Armonk went through. So the explanation provided to meet the substantial construction needs to tie in the proofs submitted to justify substantial construction. Board should not have to piece together this information. It is, so it is not clear, is it the ECB oath violation that was served on 4/29/2009 that would establish that foundation was completed prior to rezoning and prior to the expiration of the permit issues? Because we do not have any photos, we do not have foundation permit, we do not have any documentations to prove it. Need to clarify the ECB oath document statement. The document, the ECB oath document states, quote, miscellaneous violations failure to provide an adequate construction fence noted at the time of inspection. The job sites with foundation walls in place and construction fence unstable and missing. From here, it is not at all clear to me whether the foundation was completed or what was the reason for this inspection, none of those things. So I cannot rely on that document alone to to come to the conclusion that a substantial completion has been done. With regards to substantial expenditure, similarly, several checks were issued from 2008, and these were provided without providing any explanation how they support the expenditure that was made, totaling 255,500. It is absolutely not possible for the board to determine what these payments were made towards without providing a very clear narrative to support with these supporting documents and linking these supporting documents. Applicant, in most of these cases, we ask that we have seen applicants providing an affidavit from the owner. But I'm not sure whether that is helpful, given that we just have so many documents and do not know what to make. I couldn't make of it. Maybe Commissioner Otley Brown can shed some light. With regards to serious loss, if denied, applicant needs to explain how in this specific instance, the rezoning from R32 to R2 would cause serious loss. Applicant needs to check the zoning comparison chart that has been presented. Some of the zoning sections are incorrect. 23-145 is applicable to R2 district and 23-142 is applicable to R32 district. So it needs to comply with the underlying requirements applicable at that time. Also check the proposed floor area and the applicability of the increased floor area pursuant to B and C of section 23-142. So overall, I would say even the application fails in making its case with regards to serious loss if denied, because there is nothing there. The narrative has more legal explanation. It needs to be supported with specific information related to the subject site to meet the 3 prongs of Putnam. Vice Chair Shibeta.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to note that I believe our text in our lineup should be changed because it states development of a hotel prior to the adoption of a zoning text.
It was changed.
That was correct.
Yeah, it was corrected. We did catch it and it was corrected, but I think you may not have received the latest one. Yeah.
Got it. I agree with your statements. I just want a clarification. Were you referring to the oath violation?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have no further comments. I agree with your statements.
Oops. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, Commissioner.
And the oath violation,
Oh,
it
the oath
states that
violation.
there is the foundation walls were completed. But I do agree with the chair that is not what we generally accept. We generally accept photos or some other type of proof. And in the absence of, that's a very different situation, but hopefully the applicant can provide us with the information that ties it all together. I have nothing further.
Yeah, I don't even think the document very clearly state that it just says foundation walls in place and construction fence unstable and missing. The focus seemed to be more on the fence and less on the foundation
Because it's a
wall.
violation,
Yeah,
so,
it's a-
for the missing fence, so
Right.
that makes sense.
Right.
These, those guys at Oath are not authorized to determine
The
completion of a foundation.
exactly.
It does say, no, I agree, but it says, from what I understand, it was that at the time of inspection, noted at the time of inspection that the job site foundation walls are in place. I don't think it's the best evidence. I would agree with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it should come from DOB, especially since if I visit, I don't want to step on the rest of your
No,
turn.
I,
Oh,
it's all
okay.
you.
If DOB is the agency that determined initially that they vested because they had a completed foundation, then there should be some document in DOB's records that had sent a DOB inspector out who had verified and validated the fact that the foundations were complete so that it could actually vest with DOB. And since the permits have now been deemed to be valid, I assume they have some record that they vested properly
Mhm.
with DOB, and they should get that record from DOB and present it to us.
Yeah.
As for my comments generally, I feel that they can make all three findings, but I agree with both the chair and the vice chair that they did not take the time and energy to present the information in a way that would prove that they made those findings. And so, for instance, for substantial money spent or committed, number one, you don't just state a dollar amount, but it has to be a dollar amount as of what total, out of what total? Because it really is, it's a relational conversation. What you're trying to say is that you invested enough in this property that it would really be a loss if you're not allowed to continue under the old zoning. So just dropping a dollar amount down doesn't make that substantial expenditure finding. It has to be out of a total so that we could see, wow, you spent a lot of money towards the completion of this project, and that's absent. Also, there should be an accounting of what was spent that is very legible, very easy to understand, and completes the picture of that. And what we've received are incomplete listings of canceled checks and bank debits, and there's no way to know whether the canceled checks are part of the bank debits or whether or not those bank debits are extra. There's a $20,000 wire transfer that matches the date and amount of the wire transfer in a different folder that's a checks folder. And there's no way to know whether that's even being double counted towards the total, not to mention the fact of what I total on my own doesn't even amount to the amount that they're claiming they actually spent by rezoning. So what they need to do is organize all of their financial information and put it in an Excel spreadsheet and list every check and every debit, when it took place, what the amount was and what it went towards. So we could determine whether or not the costs are real and the costs actually went towards items that are allowable for this case.
Just for clarification, are you saying also you want it in hard costs and soft costs?
No, they don't have to do that
they don't have to do
necessarily,
that.
because if they give us an Excel spreadsheet that says what it went towards, that's gonna let us know that it would be hard to soft cut. So it could be like $30,000 check, June 5th, 2008, paid to so-and-so Architects LLC or whatever, then we would know that's a soft cost. So if they do stuff like that, and then we would know, for instance, if it was like just a whole bunch of snow removal or just taxes paid or whatever, and we would be able to determine whether or not their costs that they're paying out are valid costs towards the finding of this common law vesting case. And then as to serious loss, I think that the lawyer is having trouble determining where to put the various money amounts, and so it's not making sense. So for instance, if you have spent $250,000 towards the construction of a project, you can't claim that you would lose $500,000 because you did not spend that. So you can only claim what you spent. Now, as to the $576,000 loss, which they're talking about, that amount of money is more appropriately placed in the net profit calculations. And the net profit calculations have to be done as the cost to build a project, and then the sales price of that project, and then the net difference is either your profit or your loss. And then that has to be compared to the cost to construct the new project, and then the sales price of the new project, and then you get the net profit or loss of that. And then you can run a subtraction against the two to determine what your profit loss would be if you were forced to use the new zoning versus the old zoning.
Mhm.
They don't have that. That's not fair. So I think the applicant needs to go back and truly go through this stuff with a fine tooth comb. Put all the money amounts where they belong, have the backup for all of those money amounts. And that includes when you're talking about the sales price of the two homes versus the sales price of the single home. You need some kind of a sales comparison analysis of sales in that area that will basically validate all of your statements. So it's going to take a little time, but they can get there.
Yes. Yeah, I just felt this was a very sloppily done application and it felt a little bit of a cut and paste to me, honestly, and not much thought was gone into the specifics of this case. I have notes from Commissioner. No, I do not have any notes from Commissioner Sheta on this one. But I do have notes for Commissioner Yoon, from Commissioner Yoon. Applicant should provide a specific description of the extent of the work that was completed prior to the zoning text amendment. The presence of a foundation wall does not necessarily mean that the foundation was complete. Applicant needs to detail out why the existing construction that has been completed could not be used to develop an as-of-right single-family home. So those are the comments.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, this concludes the review session for August 12th, 2024. Do you want to continue into the new or want to? 5 minutes?
Give a 5 minute for.
Okay, we're going to take a
What So you want to give them 10 minutes so that they can.
Okay, we're going to take a break for 10 minutes and then proceed with the
Yeah.
public hearing. Thank you.
Ms. Martinez, we are live and streaming. You may proceed with the public hearing.
Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing for August 12th, 2024. We'll begin with the special order calendar, continued hearing items 103, 93, 91 BZ, Volume 2, 248, 18 Sunrise Highway, Queens. This is Alexis Landensman.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning. Is there anyone else going to attend with you?
Not for this one, no.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to the board member questions?
Yes, I do.
State your name for the record and proceed.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Alexia Landisman from Shelton Lobel PC. On behalf of the applicant, we've attended the executive session and heard the board's comments. So it appears that the board wants some more revisions on the plans. We can remove that strip of plantings and we can make that revision on the plans and resubmit. And we have reached out to the Parks Department. We can submit proof of that to the board. And I spoke with ownership and they are making strides to get the bollards installed as well. I know that that'll take a few weeks to just get that done. And then with the signage, I'm still waiting for the architect to get back to me on what is going on there, and we'll make those revisions on the plans as well once I hear from them.
Did the Parks Department respond or?
I'm not sure yet, so I'm gonna forward that information to the board as soon as I get it. I was made aware that they reached out. And in regards to Commissioner Yoon's comments, we can also reach out to the Parks Department and see if they're willing to add more trees in that 60-foot wide frontage.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's the
No,
next case.
that's,
I'm sorry. Sorry, I was going ahead of another case. Sorry. You're muted, Ms. Landesman.
I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't turn mine. I wanted to know, is the owner working towards installing the bollards?
Yes, they are. They are working on, and then we'll have photos for the board as soon as those are installed.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Landesman? Okay, let's go to the public.
Okay, the case we're currently discussing is 10391 BZ, Volume 2, 248 18 Sunrise Highway, Queens. Should you wish to discuss, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 160849-9588 and the pound sign. At the prompt after that, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to participate, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are permitted, once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
We're waiting for people to call in. Ms. Landesman, I also want to make sure that all the existing planting beds that are there, apart from the one that I picked up, just so there is a planting bed that is wrapping around the staircases that is going down. And then there is a planting bed at the corner at almost like eastern corner and the northeastern corner, those planting beds.
Where the cars drive into the
Yeah, so there are these 2 planting beds, one on the rear lot line and one on the side and front lot line. Please make sure this is the time for planting. So please make sure that all the plantings are in place for those areas. We didn't get a complete set of photographs that showed that plant condition. I think I saw it in the Google Street View.
We actually submitted photos with the first submission with the operations, and in you see the plant beds, but I can resubmit that and bring attention to it to the board. There were fresh plantings that were made.
Because the operational plan did not show photos, the operational photos did not show. Hmm. Yeah, it's very difficult to see the photos from the operational photos of submitted on 7/26 and 6/26. Just looking at. The one that, okay, so what I do see in photo number 2 from 6/26, there is really no, no, that's the others. I always get confused. Yeah, so I'm looking at the photo number 3 of from 6/26. I do not see any planting at that front side lot line at all. I do see the bend, but I do not see any cars. As a matter, I do not see any planting. There's actually a car that is parked on the sidewalk that I do see from that photo. And the only one where I do see some planting is along the rear lot line. And that's where also there are a lot of excess signage that is there. I think that's what is being talked about. Again, looking at photo number 5, I do not see any planting at the front side lot line. So, realistically, if you're not able to provide it because of your operational and reasons, do not show it on the plan. Replace it with street planting. Or if you can provide it, then provide it. That's my suggestion. I don't want to create a situation where it's there on the drawings, but it's not there physically.
Understood. I'll sort it out with the client and get back to the board.
Yeah. Same goes for when I'm looking at photo 6 of 6, that plant that's right at the entry of the queuing area. It's been actually paved over. There isn't any even soil to plant anything. So that's why I'm suggesting clean up those things, reflect what's actually is happening. If you're able to provide planting, provide where possible, but don't provide it in the plan when it's absolutely not feasible. And in return, just provide more street tree planting. And also, please make sure that the applicant installs the bollard right on the property line. Because these are, these bollards, yeah, according to the drawings, they seem to be right within the property line. Okay. Commissioners, do you feel comfortable closing it and waiting for the revised plans and all the implementations in place prior to decision? Okay, everybody's shaking in their head in agreement. So what I'm going to suggest that we close it, but we keep the record open for all the revisions that need to be made to the plan with regards to signage, with regards to the plans about the street trees and trees planted within the planting areas within the site. Provide photos of the improvements of the excess signage being removed, of plantings that's been added, and the bollards that's been installed.
Understood.
How much time do we need?
How much time you would need? I think,
I'm gonna speak with the owner, with ownership, see how they're making out with the bollards, and then get back to the project manager on this, if that's all right.
yeah, that is perfectly fine. Do a good job of it and implement it, and then we can vote it out.
Okay.
Okay,
Want to call motions, please?
yeah, motion.
Public came
Yeah,
already.
public, nobody called in.
Nobody showed up.
Okay.
Chair
Aye.
Shonda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Appeals calendar, new cases, item number 13, 2024-14A, 23 Zarelli Court, Staten Island. This is Mr. Dale.
Who would it be?
Is there anyone else with you, Mr. Dale?
Just me today.
Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Right. Good morning, Todd Dale for the applicant. I did listen to the review session and heard the comments. I will speak to those comments briefly now and then follow up with a written submission. First, with discussion with respect to the easement, I apologize. I thought we had submitted the recorded easement into the record. We'll submit it with our next submission, but just so the board is aware, as noted on the plan, there is an existing 40-foot wide easement that is recorded that reflects the proposed location of Zarelli Court, which is on the subject lot and the adjacent lots. We'll submit that so the board has that for the record to show that what's being proposed is a recorded document. With respect to DEC, we would inform you that there is an application pending. If it is resolved during the course of this application, we'll submit it to the record. Otherwise, we will also, or regardless, we'll update the plans to note the board is not waiving any wetlands associated approvals. With respect to the fire department, we will wait any letter or comments that are issued by the fire department and respond accordingly. We would anticipate those would be comparable to other comments we received for industrial loop applications, so we'll be prepared for a response. With respect to the community board comments, we would just note that this proposal is compliant with all requirements with respect to parking and restrooms. But we'd also note that there is no, beyond any code compliance, that there's no practical need for either. This site is intended as a use for storage for materials. There's not really any on-site employees. It is currently just an open yard where a landscaping company stores materials. And the intent of this application is to build a structure to cover it, to protect it from elements. So accordingly, there's really no on-site employees, so no parking would practically be required. In respect with the restroom, it's not required. It would add significant cost to add a restroom to this site. But just so the board knows, and I believe that we mentioned this committee board, that lot 505 that fronts on Industrial Loop does have a structure that's built that has a restroom. So if any driver of a truck needed to, use a restroom, it would be made available to them. But as far as this particular site, we just note for the record that it's compliant with respect to both of those issues. And it's also, there's no practical need for either based on this design. And then finally, I would note, it wasn't discussed at the hearing, but I just want to state on the record and confirm for the board that with respect to seeker requirements, a checklist was submitted with this application. And we did receive some follow-up communication that this would be a type 1 action, but we did have discussion with counsel of the board. We will be updating the seeker, either confirming why we believe this qualifies as a type 2 action or filing an EAS for a type 1 action. And we hope to be doing that shortly. We're just reviewing the issue now and we'll get that submission in as soon as possible. I believe those were the core issues that were discussed. If there's anything else, I can answer it now. Otherwise, we'll follow up in written submissions.
So Dale, can you hear us?
I'm sorry?
Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay.
An action as opposed to a type 2, not a type 1.
I'm sorry. What was that? That I didn't hear.
It's a little muffled.
Is there a problem with our mics?
No, I think
Can you hear us?
I hear you, Chair. I just heard that.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
the question our general counsel asked that you meant unlisted, not type 1.
Correct. Sorry about that. Yes.
I just have a question with regard to committee board. When you were at the hearing, did they state anything in specific with regard to a restroom or parking, or did that come up at all?
When I was at the community board, there was a concern that if someone was using the site, that there wouldn't be a restroom available, so people would use nature, I guess is the best way to say it. And respect to parking, I think that's just a general common request of Staten Island Community Board 3. But as I note, since there's no real employees on site, this building doesn't even have an office. It's literally just going to be a structure where smeared material is stored and trucks will pull in and pull out. So there's going to be no one actually on site actively. It's just to visit the site, to pick up materials or to drop off materials. And that was explained, but it was still, those were the comments of the community board. And as I said, it's compliant with any zoning requirements or construction code requirements, and no relief is sought with respect to their parking for the bathroom.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Is Chief Daly? Yes, I see him. Chief Daly, would you like to join us? Do you have any comments? Did you have a chance to look into this application?
Chief Daly, you're muted. If you want to speak, please unmute.
Let's go to the public, maybe,
Yeah. Put the screen up. All right. The case we're currently discussing is 2024-14A, 23 Zarelli Court. Should you wish to speak on this matter, dial 669-254-5252. You will enter the webinar ID number 160-849-9588 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to participate, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your screen. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
Chief Daly,
Yes, Madam Chair.
yes, do you have any comments on this application?
And we're discussing Zarelli Court?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. I just had to step away. Yet since they have a turnabout that's more than 400 feet off of Industrial Loop, they will be required to obtain fire department approval from our city planning unit. I don't know if the applicant has filed an application yet, but I will check and find out. And if not, I will prepare a letter to the BSA and the applicant, Todd Dale, to submit an application for fire department approval.
All right, so Mr. Dale, please proceed accordingly.
Noted on that, we'll await the letter, but in the interim, I'll reach out to the engineer and architect to see if an initial application's been filed, I'll work on it from my end also.
Thank you.
Great. I think we need to keep the record open just because fire department has to weigh in on it. So otherwise, and let's coordinate the time based on the review. And we'll schedule it accordingly. So project manager can reach out to you, or you can reach out to the project manager.
Understood, we will, and we can be flexible with the board's calendar. I think it'll, as you noted, it'll depend on the fire department comments, whether the city planning has been submitted, and also the seeker resolution. The other items should be quick response items, but
Yeah.
we'll coordinate with the project manager.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Next item number 14, 2412A, 2413A, 13752, 13756 Bennett Street, Queens.
Assuming this would be.
Yeah, Alexia and Richard Lovell.
Alexia is already in the room, and Mr. Lovell should also be.
Who's Sadhan Das? You don't need to be sworn in, Miss Landsman. Can you unmute? if you're speaking? Okay. Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Richard Lobel of Sheldon Lobel PC.
Alexia Landisman of Shelton Lobel PC.
Chair, Commissioners, good morning. Once again, we're here for a common law vested rights case, 13752 and 13756 Bennett Street. We had a representative listen to the board's comments at the executive session. So I think there's a few things to note. The first is that we'll do a better job to present the information that's available to us and provide to the board a more detailed accounting of the satisfaction of the findings in terms of substantial expenditures here. We note that this is not a property without problems, as is the case with many vested rights cases. The property itself was a subject of litigation. Having said that, Ms. Landisman and I are confident that we can provide the board with better evidence in terms of making the findings. We do note that the ECB violation, as was provided to the board, even though it is not the best evidence of which we would typically provide to the board, is some evidence of the fact that in 2009 foundation walls existed at the site. But we understand the board's comments in terms of not only providing substantial expenditures and evidence of that, but also of the fact that we can well document serious loss. Indeed, the serious loss finding in many vested rights, common law vested rights cases is not even called upon as a finding. Having said that, it is fairly formulaic here to determine that in a district where 2 single-family homes would not be allowed under the new zoning, that we can, that we'll be able to establish that serious loss would occur should the applicant be forced to proceed as of right. But having said that, we do have the board's comments. There is, we note, a scarcity of evidence here with regards to the premises and construction prior to the zoning change date. Having said that, we will, try to provide better evidence and at a minimum allow for those involved or at least tangentially involved in the construction, provide affidavits to better substantiate our findings.
Thank you. I know your team can do it. So, any questions or comments? I think Commissioner Otley Brown's comments are very clear. If you need any sample, let us know. We can provide that. But I don't think you need to because you have done similar cases.
Sure, 100%. I think part of the discussion sometimes is that, particularly in terms of serious loss, if it's so blatant in terms of the loss that will occur, on occasion we don't necessarily feel the need to paper this very deeply in the record. Having said that, it's mere an architect's letter here could easily confirm the serious loss that would occur. And we do note Commissioner Otley Brown's statements in the record with regards to how to document that. So we can do that as well as provide the Excel spreadsheet as was requested. We don't want to get anyone's hopes up in terms of the quantity of evidence that we're able to provide here, but we will do even more digging and at least attempt to better order that which we presented to the board.
I think your critical thing is really going to be the foundation and the cost associated with it and improvements that have been made to the site. Your soft costs, the architectural fees, submission fees, all of that, and then the fencing and other those that have been put in before. Those are the costs that we have accepted in the past, but I think you have the information, but it needs to be tied together.
Right. I think that you can also make the findings even with the limited backup for your costs that you have. You don't have to claim $250,000 in costs and only give us $100,000 in receipts. You can claim $100,000 and for which you have the receipts and still make your finding.
Understood.
Okay. Commissioner Sheta, oh, what happened?
I just joined. I had to use another phone. Sorry about that.
Perfect timing. Go ahead, Commissioner Sheta.
Thank you. yeah, I hear the comment from Commissioner Yoon regarding the, like the statement about the foundation wall in the, inspection sheet from the city, from the DOB. I agree with her that the statement is kind of like not that crystal clear. And the presence of the foundation wall doesn't mean that the foundation is finished. So I would like to get some pictures, if we have any pictures available, that demonstrate that the foundation was like installed by that date. That's what I have on that application. Thank you.
Yep. Let's go to any other questions or comments? If not, we'll go to the public.
The case we're currently discussing is 2024-12A and 2024-13A, Bennett Street, Queens. Should you wish to discuss, dial 669-254-5252. Enter the webinar ID number 160-849-9588 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted, and it's press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you're calling in on the phone. And if in the Zoom room already wish to participate, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you're just recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
How much time do you need to make these corrections?
Alexia, do you think?
I would say if we can get till probably mid-September to just get the architect's letter and get our affidavits in order and really do a deep dive with the DOB and the foundations, I think if we can get a hearing for end of September, beginning of October, that might be deal.
Chair?
Yes?
Yeah, I
Yes.
understand that pictures availability might be tough. So if, like, in lieu of pictures, if they have any inspection reports, any like concrete testing that says that these samples would, that any information that demonstrate that the foundation was in would be helpful. If of course pictures are pictures, they talk for themselves. But I'm saying I understand that this is kind of an older project. If there is no available pictures, then they can get us like concrete testing, inspection reports, whatever they have.
Understood.
Thank you.
So end of September or October is what I think. I realistically think October, but then is more because a submission date. I just want to look at the submission date.
October 21st, the submission date would be October 3rd. Yeah,
Whereas for September, it would
be like September 12th.
September 12th, so it doesn't give you much time. So I think best would be to go for October and not miss your place in the.
I believe you're right. So October it is then.
Okay, great.
So no one has called in?
Nobody has called in. So we'll schedule this for continued hearing in October.
No other questions? No other comments?
No other questions or comments? Okay.
Okay, this concludes the public hearing for August. I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, he was for the Commonwealth.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this concludes the public hearing for August 12th, 2024. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.